I'm Gabriel Hernandez with Watcher DM. Today, we're going to go through the Doom Desert in the Decanter of Delirium 2023 release, which is the Zine format A5 release in PDF, and how you can use this to run your game. So in this PDF, we now have bookmarks, so 4 bookmarks, and the contents, table of contents, will link to those bookmarks for different things. Easily get to the background or whatever. Some important aspects of this game that you should definitely talk about early with your players is that it does dabble on the topics of drug use and drug addiction. That is covered here in the background, the black sand. This is a pervasive element of the game world, so it's a demi-dimension, kind of pocket dimension. And use of the black sand is, kind of a central theme for the characters. But it doesn't have to be. You can take this kind of out and just treat it as a bad thing or something that only the bad guys do. Smoking the black sand will give you a Dreams of Serapho effect, which is found on page 3. You roll a d12 and get one of these evocative waking dreams. So when players use, have them have the effect that I think they get advantage on initiative rolls for an hour and disadvantage on initiative rolls until they take a long rest. So there's some usage stuff here that can help with advantage and whatnot. Following that, you kind of get the adventure hook. This is the standard adventure hook that is covering how they kind of get introduced to Karazar and why they might want to save the town that he's been afflicting. Also, at the beginning of the book, there are a couple of alternate ideas for, story entrance to the Decanter and other places it might be found. And then kind of on page 1 is just kind of like a splat of like, this is something you can read to just get your characters into the adventure without much of a preamble. Assuming they've been after Karazar for a while. This is the Karazar Wanted poster on page 6 that you can copy and use as a handout if you like. And then, we go into, on page 7, the general features and how to use this book. So general features are much as you'd expect from any adventure, because this is kind of a point crawl. There is a travel expectation, so expect travel to take an amount of time. There is a visibility requirements. It's super important that you play to these so the players don't really know what's beyond the horizon to a certain level until they go there to find out. And then illumination is a little bit interesting in this game in that the illumination is an encounter. So the sun is one of the monsters in the book, and reaching her is tricky. So she begins at 04 and moves clockwise 1 zone per hour. So every time they move somewhere, and returns to 04 every 6 hours. So she'll be at the southernmost point on the bottle every 6 hours. And you want to make sure to highlight to the party that that's how the sun works here. When they take a long rest, make sure they recognize that the sun never went down. And then we've got some nice handy icons for breaking down how to use the different encounters in the book, and the diagram of the decanter, again broken up into outer, inner, and then central components. And the key for the different locations. Of course, you'll find the keys match up with the chapter headings of the book. And we're just going to go ahead and show off some of the encounters here. So these encounters, these are a couple of the pseudo-random encounters. They should only happen about once per playthrough. One of them is Django Undead, where a dead man drags his coffin across the Black Dunes. He asks for a drink of water. If you give him one, he'll ask for another. If he drinks 2 rations of party's water, he'll tell them that the drinking dead in the saloon drink salt water and will attack anyone who spits it out. So he kind of gives them some information about the saltwater saloon encounter, which again is I4. If he isn't given water, he'll attack, and he fights like a ghast. Now, we did provide the stat block here for Django Undead. He's a pretty fun encounter, because once you kill him, if they check the coffin, another copy of Django just walks out, tips his hat, puts the other body in there, and keeps walking. So it's kind of a fun Sisyphean character. It can be kind of a fun way to interact with the players and show them kind of the magic of the demiplane. The Dog Days of Summer is an encounter where an educated dog is riding a sled pulled by 8 feral humans. And so he's just sledding around. He can show up a number of times, but he demands tribute of food, salt, or water, and will attack if denied. So yeah, he's kind of a fun kind of reverse character to play. And of course, he is shown here with the educated dog stat block, with his common language and intelligence. And then feral humans are shown here on page 13. And then after that, you've got 1d10 random encounters table. A number of these are just, a smell or a sound on the wind, or you found somebody who's dead, or you found some dung, you found some wax plugs the size of an ear canal. So a lot of these are not combat encounters, but a couple of them are. And actually, I think one of them, 2d4 Dreams of Serapho, use the dredge stat block, attack the party. So if you find yourself rolling a lot of random encounters and you end up kind of getting duplicates, feel free to rely on this Dreams of Serapho encounter to kind of provide some stakes. Otherwise, feel free to embellish about the contents of the bottle and what people find. The adventure starts at 01. They kind of have to dig themselves out of the sand and figure out where they're going to go. And one of the first places they can go is the City of Silence, where the Whispering Harpies live. It is a crazy place, and that if you fail a stealth check when exploring the city, you'll take thunder damage and be forced to escape. You basically have to run out of the city as the echoes resound into a cacophony of destructive sound. If you find the harpies and you make no noise, you can communicate with them through pictographs and pantomime. So they'll play charades, they'll do anything, and they can be convinced of some pretty interesting stuff to do. So they are one of the kind of key allies that you can get early in the game. And just remember, they only communicate with pictographs and pantomime. So, making an agreement that you're going to go eliminate their noisiest neighbor, the mariachi band, at the Saltwater Saloon, and the lepers at, the lepers wear spiders encampment. How do you express that as a charade? How do you express that as a pictograph? If you'll figure it out, but have fun with your party figuring it out, because it's an interesting encounter to kind of force that communication to happen. And if they can return with proof that that's happened, the harpies will fly the party to the tuning fork in the center of the adventure. So this is kind of a fast track. If they can do this and figure this out and do this, they can move very quickly to the end of the adventure in terms of the escape. And then, we have the Whispering Harpy Leader stat block and the Whispering Harpy Soldier stat block, in case the party attacks them or, they make noise. Next, we describe the Amnesiac Library. This is a fun place where the library is kind of half buried in the desert, and um, you can read the books in it, but there is a spirit of forgetfulness that haunts the library. And so, anytime you read in here, do any research, you can learn a secret. But if you fail you're an intelligence saving throw, like in your caster, you'll lose a spell slot. um, or you'll lose your skill proficiency until a long rest. So, and it takes hours to do this. So this is so that you can track the movement of the sun as they spend time in the library. And then the secrets are all pretty flavorful, but they also cover different things throughout the adventure. So one, like the first one, Oubliette's Ghost, the spirit of forgetfulness haunts these books, a secret you are already forgetting. So yeah, this is the indicator that like this place is haunted. You have to look out for it. Otherwise, it describes Shavra and his relationship. Shavra is the guardian of C1A, the Ziggurat Gate. Thirst for Delusion describes the effects of the water in the Oasis of Delirium, I3. Devil in Disguise, the Crucified Prisoner is a devil in disguise, describes the interaction in the Water Cave, O6. Doing Time in a Bottle describes the leprous were spiders. Found in Translation, I think, just gives you language comprehension, like it's a scroll. And then there's the Secrets of the Harpies, the Secrets of the Black Sphinx, the Secrets of the Sun Gecko, kind of a bunch of different stuff here. So exploring this can be a lot of fun. It can be a great way to lend information to the party and make sure they understand, and learn more about the lore of the decanter itself, which I think is very fun. Lots and lots of stuff to learn there. Moving on to the Ladder to the Sun. This is the O4 encounter. So this is the way to get to the Sun Gecko and her orbital attitude. So you kind of have to come here when she's here, otherwise you're just up on this like wall. And with some, you found some ladder like grooves in the glass wall, and there's some masonry tools. And then you get to try and climb up there. And if she's there, you will deal with the sun. She is a pretty interesting character, in that she is a sun goddess who has been trapped inside and has to just walk around. If she walks in the reverse, she will reverse time. So this is a super wild encounter. She basically fights like a gold dragon wormling. But she has spider climb instead of a fly speed. So that's kind of the way she works. One of the more fun pieces of art we had done by Maya Bambo. And really, really great encounter. She laments the endless cycle of walking. But she only speaks Draconic and Primordial, so hopefully one of your party members speaks with her or uses the scroll found in the Amnesiac Library to be able to talk with her. And her Draconic name is Krava Nishima Yukeo Suni. But she'll answer to Sunny. And it's a cool little social encounter here. Or, you can get your butt kicked by a gold dragon wormling, which is pretty fun. Also, this fight happening up at her altitude is tricky for the party. Like, make sure it stays tricky for the party. O5 is the leprous were spiders. This encounter is a social encounter largely, and exploration. Although you can fight them, there are 7. And they basically fight like bandits. So it's a 7 bandit encounter, which can be hard. But interestingly, this is like one of the ways to find out, like, you can get the spider climbing salve, which will help you deal with fighting Sunny. Also, this is one of the ways to get lycanthropy and become a were spider, which, you want to have your party deal with that. It can be a lot of fun. And yeah, it's fun to play a hobo. O6 is the water cave. This is a super interesting encounter space. The man bottling. So it's a crucified person in the middle, like with a wound from which water is pouring out. And yeah, you kind of have to find him first. So that's this voice in the wilderness crying encounter. And if they find him, you kind of interact with this Hierophant Oliver Oliphant, and he will trade water for equipment, but he doesn't recognize money. And yeah, he's a super weird character, but he runs a cult. So there are cultists, thirsty cultists, that will attack you if you try to save the crucified man. Of course, if you try and save the crucified man, he is also, in fact, the river devil Melidra, who uses the Quaddle stat block. They own a contract on Karazar's soul and can point the adventurers towards the pyramid, claiming that a method of escape resides therein. But otherwise, yeah, they'll just try and escape the bottle before revealing themselves. What did I just realize? Okay. Anyway, Ruins of Serapho. This is I1. This is the inner ring. And yeah, you can sleep here. It's a place to rest. But there will be dreams of Serapho that will attack you when you live here, or when you hang out here. And they're basically dretches. They fight as dretches. The Sphinx of Black Quartz is a puzzle, and if you can solve it, she will open her heart, which is a gateway to C1A, C1B, I believe, will take you directly into the White Ziggurat. Oh, no, it leads you out at C1, right next to the waterfall and after the Goatman's Gate. Yep. And there's a beautiful drawing of that Sphinx of Black Quartz. I3 is the Oasis of Delirium. This is the only other water source in the game that you can bottle water at, but the water here is poisoned and will make them delusional. So the Oasis of Delirium provides for an illusionary encounter against harpies, which can be fun. And then yeah, you can actually distill potable fresh water from the vegetables grow around the oasis. So there is a way to get water here that's good. I4 is the saltwater saloon. In this saloon, they all drink salt water, and everybody's dead. So you don't want to spit it out. If you do, they will attack you. Those are the drinking dead. And yeah, there's also the Sugar Skull Mariachis here, and if you can work with them, they'll give you a song that counters the. I think it counters the. It's like a silence. Let's see here. Song is not meant for mortal ears, yet casts silence when played. It requires any who learn it must succeed at a DC 15 wisdom saving throw at every long rest or forget the song. So it's a very difficult song to keep, but it can cast silence, which is pretty awesome. And then yeah, they're offended by anyone who spits out the salt water. So 6 drinking dead will attack if they're insulted. I really like doing this encounter with some mariachi music playing in the background. It can be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's just a really fun encounter to kind of juice things up. Imagine a Mexican bar, salty, salt money's drinking. The next encounter is the C1A. This is Ziggurat Gate. And yeah, this is where you encounter Shavra, a goat man. He uses the Minotaur stat block. And yeah, he has vowed not to let anyone in. Um, Although, if the party knows that he is married to a stone, um, it's hard for him to tell time, and so he actually doesn't know if Karazar has betrayed him. Um, so yeah, you can definitely get this guy to stand down if you don't want to fight him, but it's a fun encounter either way. Play into the goat man being in love with a stone and missing his stone. It's cute. Um, and once you are past him, you find the White Ziggurat and the River of Time. So describes ways to get up to the Black Pyramid, mostly to do with the Sun Gecko. Of course, let your players figure out any other ways that they want to get up to the Black Pyramid if it's possible. But if you can get the Sun Gecko to walk backwards on the walls of the Decanter, the water flows upwards. The adventurers can ascend by swimming. If the Sun Gecko is dead, the water will have frozen, so you can climb it as ice. And then if the Sun Gecko has drunk the waters of Delirium, it will complicate things because water will surge wildly in ever-changing directions as the Sun Gecko goes nuts. And yeah, so it kind of describes different ways of handling that encounter. But feel free to come up with whatever your players are doing and handle that. But we've provided you, I think, some really interesting ways to resolve it. Of course, they could also go via the Harpy method, where the Harpies fly them up to the C2. On the C2, Black Pyramid top, you have ascended to the flat top of the inverted pyramid. The adventurers see a great tuning fork, the key to their escape. So it activates either an epic glass-breaking sustained note requiring a successful DC 16 Charisma performance check, any amount of thunder damage, or a critical hit from a weapon. So if you can do thunder damage, you can set this thing off really quickly. If you cannot, you have to perform a sustained high note with a DC 16 Charisma check, or make a critical hit with a weapon. And give them these options with a Arcana check, basically, if because it's likely they're not going to know how to interact with it initially. And yeah, basically make each attempt take about an hour. But once the fork is activated, it will draw the attention of the denizens, and you should start doing a fight at this point that is kind of an escalating wave after wave fight of harpies that results in the finishing of the outburst, and the whole thing breaks open, and the dimension pours its contents out onto the estate of Karazar. And yeah, then we go into the epilogue and the consequences, which can be a lot of fun. It's just some, this could be a great way to introduce a lot of really fun things into your world. As it's a demi-plane, you can you can lose some stuff too if you don't want to. But if if you've never had were spiders before, have were spiders. They are hilarious. Trap making frenzies in the moonlight are great. Malidra can be a very fun character, a river devil running around. The devil of drowning to trouble people and make the players have a hard time. Bringing Serapho into your world can be a very fun thing. So yeah, enjoy pulling parts of the Doom Desert into your world and enjoying that. And then on page 43, we have our D12 treasure table. Not all these are good. Some of them are, actually kind of worthless. So if that bothers you, feel free to swap these out for magic items or other items. Again, this is for level 2 party, so shouldn't be too much. But yeah, there's some pretty good treasure in here. I got 400 silver pieces, sellable for another 50 gold. The gilded lockbox. Um, a sack of black sand is worth plenty of money. If you feel morally okay with selling it. um, yeah, there's just some nice items here that I think are unique and sellable. And that is our tour of the Doom Desert and the Decanter of Delirium Zine Edition 2023 by Watcher DM. I hope you found this video helpful. And yeah, leave a comment below if you'd like us to make more, or you found anything useful, or you thought of another way to do one of these cool things in this game. And yeah, I guess subscribe, as we're going to be producing more of these videos over time here. And if you really want to help us continue to make unique products, you can go join our Patreon, where you'll be getting some of our unique creations before they reach the public, and you'll have access to all of our existing works there. Otherwise, you can purchase any of our stuff on DriveThruRPG, on itch.io, or on WatcherDM.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Stay weird.